Yeah. Ah, crap. Yeah, pretty sure I stripped the bolt. Okay, after a couple of failed attempts yesterday at getting that bolt out, I went and bought some tools, one of which is a deep well bolt extractor, but it's made for 1/2 inch. I couldn't find one for a deep well 13 mil. So that's going to be my last resort. Before I try that one, I'm going to try and use one of these universal spline drive 13 millimeter. See if I can get at it. So that's what we're gonna do. Let's see if this works. Really hope it does, because I don't want to give up on this already. Let's make sure we have the weight off of the bracket. I'm pretty sure we do. It's still not wanting to come loose. Whoever put this one in here never wanted it to come out. That was beyond torqued. But I got it. And that is a good thing. I think my socket's stuck on it. There we go. You know, amazingly, I don't even see any type of Loctite on this, but it is definitely stuck in that socket for now. We'll get it out. So, go ahead and take that out. There we go. Now, you can see up there. Let's see if we can get the light up there. You can see a lot more of the bolts. There we go. See all those bolts up there we can get to now. So, I'm going to clean up a bit here and get started on those bolts and see how many we can get out without problem. So now, I'm just slowly removing the bolts on the studs that hold the exhaust manifold on. It is definitely a slow process. The bottom ones right now are fairly easy to get to. It's the top ones that I'm worried about. Okay, so I've gotten a few bolts out now. I've got all the bottom ones done, and I'm working. I've got the front top one done, and I've got the other 3 top ones left to go. I raised it up as high as I could with this little jack and got the front top one. I was able to get it from up top. Now, I've got it lowered down probably about as far as I can get it without hurting. Well, I think it's sitting on the K-member right now. Trying not to damage anything. So everybody's going to do this a little bit differently depending on what tools you have and your expertise and just a whole bunch of factors. So I'm going to go through all this and get all the bolts out. I'm going to raise and lower the engine as I need to. I'm going to do what I have to, use whatever tools I have to. everybody's not going to do this the same way, so I'm not going to film it because it's really not going to do you any good. I did end up taking the motor mount out just to give me a little bit more room to work in there, and I guess that's why you take it out. So I'll be back when we get over to the driver's side. So for now, I'm just going to work on getting these bolts and nuts out, which seems to be a real pain on the passenger side especially. So I'll see you in a few. So after a couple of hours of work, I finally got all this in, and I have a lot of time on some of the upper bolts. They were kind of a pain in the ass, but I got them in. I got the motor mount back in. I'm about to put the motor mount back on, but before I do that, I'm going to test fit my starter to make sure it's going to go back in without hitting anything here. Looks like it's going to fit. Looks like it's going to be a pain to screw back in, but it clears. Barely, but it clears. Okay, so I just test fit the starter in there and it fits, but it's really close right here, and I'm a little worried about heat. So we'll see better once we put the motor mount back together and we lower this down, how exactly it really fits, and make sure that it's gonna work. This 13mm here, the one that caused all the problems, it snapped. It is broken. It is no good. So as you can see from the top side, there's the top of the motor mount. Now remind you, the engine's lifted slightly right now. But yeah, really tight fit on this side. Whereas on the driver's side, I should say, there is a ton of room comparatively. I mean, look at all that. There's no way, I mean, yeah, it's tight right there. But look up in the front here, just got all kinds of room. I mean, first bolt was loosened already, and before I did anything other than take off the air filter. So, a lot more ease of access on that side. Okay, so we're down to the last bolt on the driver's side. Disconnect it from the back. And the steering rack. Off she comes. Okay, now we're gonna try and fit these new headers up in here. Okay, so we're nearing the end of this install. About ready to put the car down. Having a little trouble tightening up the passenger side motor mount on the top. A little hard to get to, even with all the different tools I have. That's one of the last things that's got to be done before this car can be driven. Plus, you know, put the battery back in and all that. But let's go underneath and see what we can see. Under here, you see we have all the O2 sensors hooked up. Wasn't too much of a problem. They were longer than I thought they were, the extensions, so they fit no problem. So that's what we got here. Into the BBK mid pipes, which come around here. So from the BBK mid pipes, we meet the X pipe that I replaced the resonator with a long time ago. Eventually maybe I'll get some 3-inch stuff on here, but for now we're just staying with a 2.5, which goes back to the stock mufflers, which I had to cut because this sticks back a little further and they were a little long, so we made that fit. So now that we've got the headers done and we're ready to start the car, let's go ahead and get a first cold start up with the long tube headers. Going to an H pipe.